Hello, Minecraftians, and welcome to the premiere episode of Realm News. I am your host, the Dark Lord, and I bid welcome. Welcome to the explorers who are venturing across the intrepid deserts out there right now, out there sweltering out in that heat. To those mountaineers on the tallest summit that dwarf Everest, do not look down. To those mariners reeling in the first day's catch or discovering new lands out on the open sea. Warm waters, cold waters, they are out there right now, and I welcome you. I welcome those poor, helpless souls who just came into the Genesis upon the overworld with no weapons, no tools, nor shelter, fresh in the game. You remember that feeling, everybody. It is horrible, it is scary. I came in at night, I remember that, and I had to build a shelter fast, so welcome to you guys. I welcome the brave who are attempting to tame the nether as we speak. Good luck to you. To those in the oblivion, that static place we dub the end, that I haven't even been there yet. I am envious of you, but I wish you the best of luck and welcome. And I say welcome to all of you, to the first edition of Realm News. I am so excited to be here with you. I truly am. I think we have a great episode today. I think we have a great first. Honestly, I do. I put a lot of work into this. I hope that I found some good info for you guys on this theory I got. I'm sure you saw the title, The Clerics Cloak, if I can even say it right. The Clerics Cloak. What the heck am I talking about, you may be wondering. Well, let me just jump into it, guys. Honestly, I'm just going to delve in here and kind of spit it out. I believe the clerics are held to a sacred order that holds secrets to the ancient world and have a deep-rooted connection to this fiendish beast as we know him. Yes, our dreaded creeper. I know. You guys hate him. You guys love him. I don't know what to say. I think he's essential to the game, but I'm not going to delve into it too far right now. I want to go further with this. I believe the creeper was a peaceful creature of the overworld. Yeah, peaceful, right? That's a little crazy. I think this was a peaceful guy up until the builders turned him into a walking bomb. And, well, there it is. Shall we dive in, guys? Brace yourselves. I have some pretty wild stuff to throw your way. I want to tell you guys a story, okay? A story from an old Realm News I have in my enchantment room. Just let me dust it off here. By the way, I'm down in my lair in Silhouette City. It's capital of the new world and the overworld I control as the Dark Lord. So here it is. Hang on. Got it right here in my hand. Now, I bid you to get cozy for a minute or two. I just got a nice little story about how I was introduced to the cleric. But, you know, I do have a caveat. Do not, if you're driving, get too cozy. Wait till you get to a nice, safe area. Maybe a prone area where you're not in the midst of wrecking into people, if you're listening to this. But you get the gist, right? So, cue the music, maestro. There, that's the perfect setting for a story. Let's get started now. I, the Dark Lord, was crossing eastwards across the vast and seemingly infinite Umber Ocean. I have sailed the sea route before and must head back for a purpose. To go beyond the coast. Beyond the sandy beaches into the depth of what appeared to be a fascinating land. Upon discovery of this unique land, I immediately noticed the geology of the countryside. The jutting, green-pocked mountains full of flora and giants of trees. This was an endearing sight to see alongside with the majestic waterfall shuttling off a cobblestone overhang from a higher ground from which I was viewing from my boat. Just a cascade of water, and it was a beautiful sight. I was excited to return to this beautiful paradise of jungle, trees, and pandas. I built a rudimentary shelter on the last trip upon the shore, and that's where I stayed that night. I slept that night, and then woke early to the humid jungle and to the smell of decomposing jungle floor from all the vegetation that has fallen from previous years, months, days. I immediately was greeted by 2 zombies, spiders, and a creeper. It was shocking at first just how many of them there were. There was a whole number of zombies. This place was teeming with fiendish mobs of all varieties and menace. The cave above, I noticed, above my shelter, was the breeding ground for these freaks. I ran through the dense jungle, past the ocelots, brushing against the jungle tree bark, and trying not to fall into the sporadic crevices that happened to be part of this landscape that was beautiful from ashore, but has now turned into a living nightmare. What I have discovered in mid-sprint was the most amazing village from the precipice of a grassy knoll overlooking a wide community. I quickly abandoned the zombie horde, spiders, and the creeper and sought shelter in this village. I ran into this stunning cathedral-esque church-like building that seemed out of place in comparison to the other shelters and trade buildings that were just sporadically built along the roads, the dirt roads, may I add. Upon entering the sanctuary, I first noticed a villager that was dressed as I have never seen before. This gent was in some fine garments. He turned, gazed at me with his arms at his midsection, hands folded solemnly together as if in prayer, and he said, "Huh, huh, huh, huh." I was too concerned to grunt back, and I've learned long ago that villagers do not make great conversationalists. He was in his customary biome-specific attire, but one thing stood out: his beautiful cloak, almost mistaken for a poncho, for it kind of draped in the front as well. Maybe it was 2 separate pieces. But what stuck out to me was the backside of this. The backside of his cloak was a royal purple. The color of a royal purple with the finest dye, a Tyrian dye perhaps. I'll get into the Tyrian dye later in this episode. Anyways, it was laced with a gold trim around the entirety of the piece. The embroidery on the back caught my attention immediately. In black thread was the face of the creeper, the beast I just sought refuge from, to arrive here in a place that appears to worship these exploding assassins. I thought for a second of this irony that lay before me, before noticing the brewing stand that was in the middle of the floor. This thing was positioned in a way as if it was an altar of itself. So I stole it. I ran it out of the cathedral or whatever this temple was that the villagers had erected and put this gentleman in charge of, and I took it back to my capital seed town that is hand-built in the middle of the Amber Ocean from which I sailed from. I soon had my own cleric in town, and I noticed he also sported this menacing creeper face on his beautiful purple cloak. I wonder, what could it all mean? Okay, everyone, so I just told you a story from the Realm News I pulled out of my enchantment room, and I hope that you enjoyed that little reading. That was the first time I met a cleric, and that was months ago in this realm of mine, in my world that I dubbed Ombre Dieu. I found that a while back, and when I saw that cloak, like I said in the story, I just couldn't get it out of my mind. I scoured the internet looking for theories, fan theories. I really did, Reddit, and there just wasn't much, so I had to just do my own. And that's why I'm doing this, and that's the beauty of Minecraft. It's open into the world. You can speculate all day, you can come up with your own lore. I think I have one that holds water here. I'm going to delve into this now. I want to point out, Minecraft likes throwing those Easter eggs, but I think that this creeper face on his cloak isn't just an Easter egg, and I want to point that out a little bit more, show the gravity of that, because I think this guy is a person of the clergy. I mean, it couldn't be more evident. The dude's dressed in religious-looking attire. I mean, and I'll get into that here in a second. Compared to how he dresses, he has a cape. All the other villagers, obviously, according to their biome, they dress different. They're biome specific, but I mean, this guy always has a cape. It don't matter his occupation, no matter what biome, he has this purple cape with the creeper face on the back. Also, this cleric has the nicest work environment, from what I can tell, in the entire village. Out of all the villagers, I mean, it is the most elaborate setup. Beautiful Gothic towers I saw in the story I was telling you. I didn't really describe what it looked like, but it's a tall one. It has pews in there. It's made out of cobblestone. It has vines growing out. It looked medieval in the jungle setting. It almost looked like medieval knights came in and built this, like the Knights of Templar built this for this cleric, So I delved in deeper, guys, to point out why these clerics, I think, resemble those of what we know in the real world. And by no means I'm suggesting that Minecraft is saying that these guys are Christian or Catholic or any other real world faith, because they aren't. They don't represent that. I'm pretty sure of that. And by the way, I don't represent Minecraft or anything, guys, so this is just all my theories. I just want to let you know that. I'm a commenter, theorist. The end. I don't represent any company. So just get that out of the way. So let's delve in here. I have an example here, and it's a good source I found online at the National Catholic Register. This is a blog by Kevin D. Camillo, and you can find this at www.ncregister.com/blog. This is just from a couple years ago, July 2022. And I want to delve into the cleric regular that he talks about in his article. And from what I ascertained from his blog post, these cleric regulars were interesting, and I learned a lot from this. You guys should really check it out. I'll leave these in the description of the episode, so you can check out these cool resources I found. But anyways, these cleric regulars were one of two groups he goes to describe that have held the Catholic Church, it seems like, together for what I read, hundreds of years. I think he goes to say a millennia. The canon here, so you got the canon regular and the cleric regular. The canon regular was, from what I gather, were more vehemently adhered to the church. They weren't mobile, meaning from what he describes, they were assigned to an abbey and they didn't leave that abbey unless they were told to do so, which I guess happened. He used an example of being sent to Wisconsin, a group, but that's more of an order. And I want to get into the difference here. That kind of goes into the fourth vow he goes on to say that they take, and that is a vow of stationary, being in one place, not as mobile. On the other hand, the clerics regular, their vow was more specific on the sect they were in, I guess. I'm not very familiar with religious studies at all, so I'm sorry if I'm getting this wrong, but they were more able to roam around. They were more open, it appears like, more of the liberal side, if I dare to go into, but they more very well educated people, these clerics. They educated the masses about the sacred religion, and they were very devout as well. It's just that they were more liberal in the idea that they were able to move around, kind of explore, talk, educate, delve into some parts of science. And I know I'm paraphrasing a lot, guys, but it's a very interesting article, and I just want to emphasize that these clerics were very intelligent record keepers and held in high regard in society. I also want to touch base on the attire from this article that Kevin D. Camille goes on in his blog to say, and I quote here, "These clerics sported unique religious garb," end quote, and goes on by saying, quote, "Full choir regalia includes black cape with Roman purple," end quote. Bam! Thank you. Okay. Full choir regalia was what these guys wore. It was kind of like a suit you wear to go to dinner. It was your finest, if you're going out on a date. You want to look nice. These guys look sharp in the choir regalia with the finest Roman purple capes, and they look good. These guys like to dress well. Also, I think he mentioned in this that that's what kind of separated them from the canon regulars, their religious garb. Now let's dive into the Roman purple. This kind of emphasizes just the importance of purple, and I think it also is an indicator in the game of Minecraft, the cleric wearing purple. You don't see too many other people wearing purple capes, so I think there is significance to the color itself. I remember learning in college about purple being associated with royalty, but I had to get online and just check that out a little bit further. And I found a good article, a really, really good one on BBC.com, and that'll be in the show notes as well. And this article is by, I hope I'm getting this right, Azaria Gorvet, and it's titled "Tyrian Purple, the Lost Ancient Pigment That Was More Valuable than Gold." And in this article, I want to go on to say that Tyrian purple, quote, "was the most expensive product in antiquity, worth more than 3 times its weight in gold," end quote. 3 times its weight in gold, guys. This stuff was sought after. I read in this article, people waged wars, empires collapsed over this stuff, I believe. This was like a big deal, very, very big deal, held in high regard. And this was, and I got this from the article, this was due to the process of extracting this dye. And from what I gather, it was from shellfish. It was done by hand, and it was painstaking. And this process was lost around 15th century, and they were trying to rediscover this process again. This process was, let me see here, I just want to get the color here by Pliny. I know I'm kind of going over the place, but there's a guy out there right now that is been spending years pulling up these shells and trying to get the mixture right. And I think they got down. I have to fact check that again. I'm really just trying to get into color, and there's a recording here in the article that Pliny the Elder described it as, quote, "a deep reddish purple, like coagulated blood, tinged with black, and had a shiny appearance when held to the light," end quote. So, I guess it was just something that we wouldn't even really recognize as purple. I guess it was just very beautiful. Apparently, this dye really held its color over time. It didn't fade or anything. That's why it was really sought after. And it just was very unique. Color purple is very beautiful. And this article also goes to point out that it was the Tyrian purple. Tyrian, after the city Tyre, Tyre, and the citizens that lived there were called purple people. Purple people eaters, right? Anyways, I thought that was kind of a fascinating fact that they went and pointed out, that Zaria Gorvet pointed out in that article. Check that article out, guys. It's very, very interesting. Also, off the top of my head, I know that Stoicism had a little play with part of that. I believe, I learned this in philosophy class, I think it was Zeno, the founder of philosophy. He was on a shipwreck carrying this dye. He came from a wealthy family. His ship capsized with this guy, and he lost it all, a huge fortune. But he went on and found the philosophy of Stoicism, which is a great philosophy. So you were probably saying to yourself, okay, Dark Lord, when the heck does that have to do with creepers? Some foreign overworld city with a cleric wearing a Roman purple cloak that you found has anything to do with religion. I know I know you're probably waiting for me to just get to the summation of all of this. Hang in there. I hope to, bring this all back together, make this a coherent theory, guys. Just really emphasizing that these clerics in the game are held in high regard. I don't think that's really ever been pointed out before or backed, but from what I've read online, these guys resemble from real world cleric regulars. And again, I'm not saying that there's any affiliation of Catholicism in this game or any other religion that we know in the real world tied to this. I'm just saying it's just kind of funny that they chose to dress them uncannily similar to those in real world. However, I am indeed saying that these clerics are part of some sort of religious sect in the game. I do think that they have a commonality. Each biome, each cleric has the same garb, signifying a commonality amongst all of them. And so I believe that they're part of some sort of sect adhering to ancient symbols. For example, like the sandstone creeper face carving found in desert temples. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but I think that has a lot to do with it. I believe that adds context to the history of the creeper face and why it may be borrowed. And now the villagers have that as a symbol. Anyways, creepers, in my opinion, have been around for a very long time. As far as I'm concerned, they were around since before the ancients. I believe the ancient builders, which if you don't know, if you're new to Minecraft, there's theories and they're called builders. They're responsible for all the ruins you see in the overworld. As you're exploring, you'll see like just temples, even down the ocean temples. They're everywhere, they're hard to miss. And the theory is that there was a ancient group of people that built these advanced superstructures. And I'll be getting into more of those theories in later episodes. We aren't going to get too much into explaining about the ancient builders right now. But I believe that they respected this animal, the creeper. I believe they respected the creeper. Like as I said, I think it used to be peaceful. I think they respected it because of its gentle relationship with nature. Yes, that's right. I used the word gentle with this as this violent animal as we know it now. I use the word gentle because as we know it today, it is that. But I think it used to be a gentle because it wasn't always a monster. It didn't always have TNT plugged in it. I think that frowny face was once not upside down. I say this because I theorize that these entities were biologically manipulated by the ancients. And yes, that's right. My thorough research in my bestiary, I recommend you get one because it has a lot of detail about these creatures in it, and especially the creepers, extremely fascinating. It has a complete anatomy breakdown, and in plain detail in this book, there is a block of TNT in that guy, and it's even labeled TNT, like a cartoon, It has a tripwire meticulously hooked up from the explosive device, the TNT itself, and this tripwire, whatever, this wire goes from the TNT. It looks like it wraps around the heart I'm pretty sure that's the heart. And then it goes from the heart to the brain. And there's a description above the brain even. And I do want to talk about this description in the book. It says, quote, "Tiny brain is programmed to stalk adventurers and to detonate the TNT when it can do maximum damage." End quote. Programmed. Did you hear the key word there, programmed? That indicates something other than, it biologically manipulated the creature and turned this once peaceful, light-treading, four-legged, walking-looking veggie into a killer, suicidal, cyborg killer. I'm taking the bestiary as a fact for the game, personally. I know that they said it's not canon online. The people that made the book and Mojang, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they said it's not canon, and I understand that this game is intended to always be open world, never ending, which I love about it. It's just an open world game of blocky wonder, and that's what makes it great. But this drawing here, looking at it and seeing that this TNT's wrapped around his heart and then connected to his programmed brain is just crazy to me. I can't help but speculate and come up with theories. Who can? This game is full of it. Every corner. What's that doing there? What's going on in this world? That's the fun thing about it. I would love to get your guys' take on it. Yeah, I'm going to leave a link for you to comment. I want to hear everything. Theories, how you think this show is. But anyways, we'll get to that later. Yeah, with that said, I believe the ancient builders did this as a self-defense, actually. I think they took the creeper that used to be very symbiotic with its with nature, because it's in every biome. It gets along in every biome. And I believe that builders did some rearrangements with this creature, turned it into a defense weapon to defend themselves against the zombie apocalypse. I know that sounds a little crude, just blowing the heck out of these zombies, but I truly believe that. It seems quite evident with the TNT and the programming, unless something else programmed it, but that's my theory. That's my running theory on it. I'd like to hear yours. These zombies would have been rapidly overtaking the world. These ancient builders, from what I've seen, they were really good at building, but they fell short on the weapon building. Like swords, that's not going to do much when the zombie horde comes after you, breaking down the walls of your fort. TNT, the TNT, that's a very destructive blow, even the bestiary and I can attest to this. TNT will kill you, even with full diamond armor on. It's going to blow you to smithereens, and it's going to knock out the guy next to you, and anybody within 3 to 4 blocks is going to get hurt. This would be very effective at blowing out hordes of zombies, I believe. And that's what brings me to this theory that I created. Let's see here. We discussed the creeper. The ancients biologically manipulated this creature as a defense weapon against zombies. Yeah, we covered all that. But it would be detrimental to their walls. There'd be zombies next to the walls, and that is a flaw to the theory, and I'll point that out myself. Their own creepers as a defense would be counterintuitive, if you will, because they would be blowing up creepers and also their own structures. And perhaps the good intentions to stop the world from ending led to coincidentally blowing up their own buildings and walls. Allowing the massive rotting walking meat to break in and bite and infect. That could have been part of what happened. This is all speculation, guys. Honestly, there's so many things and variables that could have brought down the ancient builders. But that's not what we're discussing, the bring down of them. I got into the creeper there for a second. I wanted to break down its anatomy. And I also wanted to allude to that I believe it used to be a peaceful creature, that this thing was around before ancient builders. Ancient builders came, the creeper was there, roaming old biomes. They respected this creature because it was peaceful with nature. It's silent. It's a creature that is peaceful, honestly, until they put dynamite in it and turn it into a living bomb. I want to say that, I don't know, maybe even the programming went askew. Switch binaries or something. Like from kill undead to kill living builders. Because we resemble the ancients, like in physical form, us as the player. The demigod, if you will. I think players are different than ancient builders. Same in physical form, but I see us more of a demigod that quasi-reincarnates every time we die, you know? Maybe that's why the creeper attacks just us, but heck, it could have been programmed to kill ancient builders, and since we look like ancient builders, it comes after us, and that's why it avoids the villagers. Maybe the villagers messed with the coding. I don't know that specifics. I just know that the creeper holds significance. Perhaps that is the reason cats are kept in towns, you know? I mean, they are scared of cats. They run away, keeps the villagers safe. The flaw of that is creepers do not go out of their way to blow up villagers, so it doesn't seem plausible. Maybe that's just a software glitch. I don't think it's a software glitch. I don't think someone just switched. And like I said about the ancient symbol on the cloak, it stems from the creepers being peaceful and numerous. And they resist the light, they're resilient. It just makes sense that that's why they would make carvings of sandstone. They're extremely resilient creatures. And these temples still being around in contemporary times would eventually be discovered by the villagers that we know today. I'm saying after the ancient builders left, the villagers would have stumbled upon these ancient desert temples, seen this image carved into the stone, and probably revered it. I mean, they would have been in all of the ancient building itself. Let's see here, and I'm sure there is an evolutionary timeline that I'm not even going to get into about the villagers coming post-ancient builder, but I'm pretty sure they came after the ancients. I don't think they lived alongside each other. And then I think the villagers and illagers kind of forked off on the evolutionary timeline like a faction group, and that suggests the pale skin. However, they just would have marveled at the architecture, the grandiosity of the creeper image, and it would have just emblazoned into their culture. And then that would have just got passed down, celebrated in their own way with the cathedrals, I call them cathedrals, in their villages. That's how they celebrate this. I guess their practice in this is through a form of alchemy, using the brewing stand. I think it's a form of expression to the creeper in their own way. The cleric is the keeper of knowledge, and I think there's more to this man than meets the eye. No, he's not a man. None of these people have a specific gender, sorry. Just a person. So next time, that you're at the brewing stand making some potions for your next adventure, turn your head to the finely robed man in the quiet regalia with the red dyed Tyrian purple and the emblem stitched on the back of his cape with this respected creature that has been hissing around the overworld for eons. Tip your cap to this guy. I think he knows what's going on. So let's do a little recap, guys. I threw a lot of information at you. What really breaks down to is two entities in this theory. right? I know I went off a little track on the ancient builders, but I kind of saw that necessary as a little back explanation so you knew what they were, especially to those new to Minecraft and listening to this. And it's my first episode, guys, so yeah, tell me what I need to do to improve this. I love constructive feedback. I do. I really do. But, so the two entities, right? The cleric and the creeper. What it boils down to is the creeper, I think, everybody hates him, it appears like. I read on forums and whatnot, and he's easy to hate because he blows your structures up. But that's what makes the game fun. If you didn't have the creeper, you wouldn't have that challenge. You wouldn't have that element of surprise. As much as I hated too, getting bombed, and this just happened to me in one of my cities called North Front. It was perfectly walled off. I forgot to put a torch on top of a ceiling, on top of a roof, and it wasn't lit. One of them generated, jumped down pretty much on my head, and bam, blew me up, and it blew up my church, for my own specific religion in my empire. And I had to do a bunch of reconstruction, patch up a big hole. I'm pretty sure he may have been charged by a lightning strike. That guy did a lot of damage. Anyways, getting off topic. What I'm saying is, if you didn't have those explosions, if you didn't have that thrill, this game would not be as fun. I mean, it's a fun game, but just give a little bit of credence to the creeper. And I hope I point out that I think that he's held in high regard by these clerics. And I think the clerics got that image imprinted into them by the ancients, holding the creeper in high regard. The creeper came, evolved in Minecraft nature. It was around before ancient. Ancient came, respected that symbiotic relationship with nature. They carved its face in temples. The ancients disappeared, probably used the creepers as a defense mechanism against the zombie outbreak, but they succumbed to the outbreak. We see that with the temples. Fast forward eons later, hundreds, maybe thousands of years later, villagers emerged. They saw these carvings in the ancient temples. They started to revere them. The creeper was around in current times. It's just that they knew him as an explosive force. They probably learned to respect that. So they embroidered it on their capes, erected temples to revere these creatures, and they practiced worshiping these creatures by doing their own rituals with a brewing stand. And clerics are somewhat rare, but I believe they're all part of the same sect, and they resemble a lot of the cleric canon. I just think it's a fascinating theory. I'll leave it up to you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This wraps up the show, everybody. Until next time, this was the premiere episode of Realm News. I'm so grateful for everyone that took their time to tune in. I hope at the least that you got a little something out of this, if not at the least some entertainment. Until next week, and until then, keep exploring, crafting, and never stop using your imagination. I will see you then with another Realm News. It is going to be exciting, guys. I can't wait to see you there. Don't forget to leave those comments. Don't forget to follow me. And don't forget to rate this. See ya.